What's up, boys and girls? Christian, don't be looking at me like that. This is episode 14 at Books and Brewskies. We have John Nguyen on the show. He is our website designer and our media guy, so this is going to be awesome. He's gonna be
what's up, everybody?
I'm just kidding. John, say hello to the folks.
You just said what's up.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
John, what are you drinking over there? What's your brewski?
I'm drinking your favorite beer, actually. Got a Coors Light.
Coors Light. That's what I'm talking about. Christian's a Bud Light guy, but
I prefer both. I
We don't
choose
mess
to
with
drink
those
Bud
guys.
Light. If for some reason every time we go camping, I bring a Bud Light. So,
yeah.
like last time I brought a Yeti full of Bud Lights last camping trip with you either.
Hell yeah. We're gonna be mixing it up. Honestly, on this show, us drinking beers, like I've already told a lot, like my parents and like friends, like I'm telling you guys, and bringing new beers to camping.
Well, yeah.
Beers that we like now that
We're
like
gonna have a
we've
Yeti.
tasted,
We're gonna have a
and
Yeti.
we
We should
like
get
it.
sponsored by Yeti because I'm talking about Yeti right now. But we're gonna have a Yeti full of Books and Brewskis beer, and then we're gonna have a Coors Light Yeti.
Oh yeah, sounds good. But right now we got our new brewski on the episode, a Julius Caesar.
No, just Julius.
Just Julius.
It's like an orange Julius. The can reminds me of Tampa Bay Buccaneers' old school logo.
Yeah, it kind of does.
For some reason, like it really kind of looks like the Buccaneer on the logo on their helmets from the creamsicle orange. Anyhow, Julius, he was born in Massachusetts at the Treehouse Brewing Company. Julius the Buccaneer. So reading off of the back of the can, Treehouse Brewing Company is very excited that you are holding Treehouse Brewing Company's flagship American IPA, Julius. Julius is bright tropical beer filled with notes of peach, mango, passion fruit, and a meringue. Did I say that earlier? Meringue. I don't know how to say that. Of citrus. It is gentle on the palate while still incredibly hop saturated. It is the result of our uncompromised dedication to fresh, progressive, delightful beer, and we hope you enjoy it with laughter, good cheer, in the company of those that you love.
Well,
Thank you, Julius.
thank you, Julius. I like it. I mean, it is super bitter, like we were talking about, and
Well, I mentioned
it's
earlier,
good. I still haven't caught on IPAs.
I'm
John,
telling
do you
you.
like IPAs?
I hate IPAs. I'm not gonna
IPAs are
lie.
good. IPAs are really
I'm
good
not
rum.
a big fan.
I think
It
There's
took a
a-
while. It took a while.
yeah. I think there's a ton of different IPAs, so it's like you're just gonna have to go through a bunch. But so far, like most that I'm drinking, I'm not a big fan of.
The first IPA I had was, I want to say it was the Avalanche IPA. That sounds right. Maybe Odell or Odell Brewing Company, I think. I can't remember, but I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
The IPAs I've tried so far have been like way too hoppy.
Yeah,
Just, like,
that's what I'm
too
saying.
much going on now.
Too much going on in the mouth, you know. There's
That's what she said.
there's too much shit going on. But the only good thing, I mean, it's got 6.8% alcohol though, so I guess you fucked up.
extra percent.
Yeah, extra percent though. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on in the mouth, and you know, I ain't a big fan.
That's what she said again.
But anyways, John, go ahead.
Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
go.
It was Accumulation IPA from New Belgium Brewing. I don't know where I came with Avalanche. I was thinking Snow.
Yeah.
First IPA I had probably back in like 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, kind of sucked. I didn't
Yeah.
like it. Took a
Yeah.
while. Obviously, 7 years later, I like them, so they're good.
Mhm.
Big
Yeah,
fan.
I don't know. Just keep tasting.
Julius tastes great in the mouth.
You like it.
In the mouth.
In the
Straight to the
But-
It's very orangey. Like I said earlier, it does remind me of halftime of youth football, eating oranges. Shane said it's like eating a peel of orange at halftime.
Dude, that's the bitterness. That's what you get out of it.
You probably got
You-
confused between your mouthpiece and the orange, and you're like, oh, let me put this back in my mouth, and it was actually a
Yeah,
piece
it's
of
orange peel. Yeah, because I got hit in the head. All the
Shane
time.
had his first concussion at age 7, Pee Wee
Dude,
football
I think
in
I
Parker,
did.
Colorado.
Safety, running back, came up the middle, me and him. Head on
I
the
actually
cliff
can
and-
tell you, 6th grade, 2006.
Actually,
Okay.
shit hit my helmet.
6th grade, 2006. I'm playing in the AYL. This is the Aurora Youth League, not the Arapahoe Youth League. For the youth that know. First concussion
Wait,
happened.
who was your youth league team?
I was the Wildcats.
Who the fuck are the Walk-Ins?
The
Get your head in
fucking
the game.
2008 champions of the
No one knows
AYL
about
Super
that.
Bowl.
No, I'm just kidding.
Anyhow, 2006, playing quarterback, sprint right, took off for the end zone. This fucker from the Raiders, little fucking Johnny from the Raiders, fucking clotheslined me and threw me on the ground, and I fucking saw stars. First concussion,
Christian still has
2006.
nightmares about that, man.
Christian still has nightmares.
We were playing over at Del Mar Park in Aurora. I can remember it to a T.
He's like, no, Johnny, no.
No.
Then I had to go to Mr. Toon's math class on Monday, and it wasn't very fun.
Yeah. He's like, my name Christian.
My
My
name.
name's Jeff.
I was literally the same thing.
My name Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
Alright, anyways.
Can't tell you the second concussion.
John,
Actually-
go ahead. This is a true locker room conversation because John and I were in the same locker room in football.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get
building
there.
off of last week, you guys saw each other's dicks.
Yep.
I know, shit.
Nice.
Never mind.
Nice.
But John, go ahead. Tell us give us a little backstory about your life. Tell the viewers who you are, where you're from, and kind of where you are now and what you've gone through.
Yeah, so my parents are actually thugs. So fresh off the boat from Vietnam. They came here when mom was like 19 when she first arrived here, and met my dad here. And then
Your
had
mom's
me,
got
my brothers.
tell a story about what your mom. She has stories on like coming on a boat to America.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so she doesn't really like talking about it, obviously, but she's told me like literally on the boat she would see dead bodies like getting thrown overboard. It was like crazy.
Wow.
Because it was right after the Vietnam War. And I
Yeah.
guess Vietnam was still having, even after America left Vietnam, they were still having a war against Cambodia. And yeah, so they were trying to escape. They were on the boat, and I guess my mom saw like a bunch of crazy stuff that like she hardly likes to speak of. But
Yeah.
um,
Like a lot of cannibalism,
Yeah.
you were saying, and stuff like that.
yeah, like literally people just starving to death and like eating other people's like
Guys,
skin or
that's
trying
crazy.
to at least.
That's insane, bro.
That's so
That's-
wild. Like that's crazy. Like humanly to think like she has that like in
Image?
her that image in her brain is just crazy.
That's
crazy.
actually insane.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yep. So she came. She first was actually in Seattle, or not in Seattle, in California, and then she ended up in Seattle, where she had me and my brothers, and so that's when I was born. Is in Seattle, Washington. I was born, or I guess we were raised in a low-income apartment here in Seattle, and then pretty much my whole childhood, I spent most of my life growing up playing sports, obviously. So I first played football when I was in second grade, tackle football. So I started that, and same with basketball. So those are the two main sports I focused on growing up.
Yeah, keep
And
going.
I saw you just like creeping.
Something was falling. Yeah, go ahead. Something was falling.
Dude, pause
Yeah,
for 2 seconds. What if all these this beer wall we just put up, what if that shit just falls like mid-podcast?
Yeah, we got all these brewskis on the wall and we don't want them to fall. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I pretty much started playing football and basketball when I was in second grade. And
Yeah.
then I kept playing all the way up until college. But most of my childhood was mainly focused on, practicing, playing with my brothers. That's what's great about having older brothers too, is that you have older brothers that are competitive. So majority of their time in our low-income little apartment, we have a basketball court, and we would play, 1-on-1 with each other, 2-on-2, because I have three older brothers. So that's most of my childhood was competing with them, and then as well as obviously playing in the team sport. And then I went to Bellevue High School. So Bellevue High School, by the time I got there, we were actually well known worldwide. we were ranked usually in like the top 20 worldwide. And then when I became a senior, so I guess let's take a step back. So as a freshman, I actually played in the playoffs where we actually traveled to, or I guess our first game we traveled to Katy, Texas. Played like a huge Texas team, and I got to travel with the varsity team, which was like a crazy experience. I did not play though, but it was a cool experience to, I guess, be able to travel at a high school level. I know not that many high schools got to travel. I don't know if you guys got to travel in high school. Did you guys get to travel to any or play teams out of state at least?
We didn't. I think we had one team that came and saw us, but what I noticed, like after I was done with high school, we had a lot more like other. We had our team like travel more, but we didn't travel much actually.
My senior year, we flew to San Diego and played Vista. Don't remember which Vista it was. It might have been Vista Mariota. I don't know. It was supposedly one of the really good Vista teams in Cali. We beat them 36-8. Broke my hand in the 6th play of the game.
Nice.
Good memories there.
Yeah.
Freaking.
Yeah, but didn't you, Bellevue? You guys beat De La Salle though. They were the ones who ended De La Salle's streak.
Really?
Yeah. So that was my high school.
Yeah,
that wasn't my team. That was in 2004. So that was like 10 years before I got there when they broke De La Salle's record. That movie.
That movie
sucks. It sucks.
That movie's so bad.
It is pretty bad, but we were the team that made it.
Yeah, that's legit though.
Yeah.
That's cool though. That's the cool because they were at like what 150 wins or 200 or something like that.
Dude, that movie. The one thing that frustrates me about the movie is it's football for dummies.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They make it so simple.
Literally.
It's hard. It's hard with sports movies. They have to be.
Ask Remember the Titans that, or Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, they have to be top.
Really
they have to be like just good movies. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, go ahead.
And then, so that was freshman year. Then sophomore year, I moved up to varsity. I swung a little JV, but I was mainly playing varsity. And then, as a junior, that was the first year I started at running back. So yeah, running back is my main position. And then I also played punt return as well and kickoff return. But in high school, I was mainly a running back. And then senior year, we ended up having a Texas team again come play us here in Seattle, which they were supposed to be like top 10. And then after we won that game on Sports Illustrated, we were ranked number 1, which is like a crazy deal. And then, we actually got a banner that still hangs up on our school that says we're number 1 on Sports Illustrated.
That's cool.
2013.
That's it.
That's actually really sick.
Number 1 in the US.
If you're not first,
you're last.
You're last.
Exactly. So during this whole time in high school, I didn't get an offer until I was a senior. So literally, it was like a week before my last game, I got an offer from the University of Montana, which was only a partial. It was only a 50% offer, which I was grateful because I honestly didn't expect an offer when I was in high school, just because of my highlights and I wasn't fast enough and all this jazz that I had going in my head during the time. But luckily, I got that offer, and then I ended up accepting it. Went to University of Montana in 2013. That's where I met Shane at the University of Montana. So we ended up being roommates eventually. But before that, he was actually down the hall. My roommate before him was
like, who's this Vietnamese?
What was his name? Mark.
Camus, man.
Your roommate was Camus.
Oh yeah. You had Mark Quinn.
Mark Quinn. Yeah.
Pot smoker.
Nice. Football player?
Anyways,
yeah, football player.
Stuff happened. Stuff happened, but then Shane ended up becoming my roommate eventually. And so my first year in college, as a freshman, I was luckily able to play as a true freshman.
We had good times as freshmen, man. The dorm room, man. The dorm room. Good
Yeah,
times.
freshman year was so fun in the dorms.
It was fun.
Like if you
man.
guys,
We have
I suppose
photos
during
and
the
stuff
freshman, I
that you
highly
need to
recommend
see
you
of
guys
me.
Oh,
stay in the
Jesus.
dorms for sure. Like,
We'll post those explicit photos of Shane
Yeah,
later.
we'll post the explicit photos.
I have a photo of Shane Moody knocked out on the floor.
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, okay.
Yeah.
Side note: how many pictures do you think are out in the world right now of your ass?
Of my
Of
ass.
Shane's ass from a lot. You saw that guitar picture?
Oh, the naked guitar picture. Yeah, I had it on my
Yeah.
Instagram.
But
And
Elite Speed made him take
yeah,
it down
Elite Speed
'cause
was
they-
like, you have some stuff on your Instagram that we are very we don't know if
because
that's,
Elite
like,
Speed
good.
is soft. So
They made you take that down?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
because they're soft.
But dude, I don't know. What was your best college year? Like one that you
Me?
could say like that was most
Me,
fun. Yeah, like both of us. If you
I would
like
say
both of you guys.
so. I would say my best college year was after I. This is insane to think about, but this is after I stopped playing football and transferred back from Wyoming back to UNC, and picked up playing lacrosse again. So I ended up playing D2 MCLA lacrosse after I played 3 years of football, and going from playing a Division I sport to playing a club like Division II MCLA lacrosse.
fun.
Like I
Just
came
mess
in
around.
with like the mentality that I'm still playing Division I sports, so I'm still training my ass off.
Yeah.
But going
You
out,
just
dude,
whoop on some
just-
club kids.
dude, going out and playing against these little like dudes that probably never could have played
Yeah.
a Division I sport was the funnest shit ever, and it was so laid back. We used to have hydration parties. And
Yeah.
the hydration party, we just go get fucked up over the lacrosse house,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was just so much more fun than like
Yeah.
like I loved football for 3 years. I mean, first year was kind of hell, and Coach Collins up at UNC was kind of an ass,
Yeah.
but I love my dude Coach Armour though. I'm still friends with him. Talk to him all the time. He was tight ends coach, but football was great. But playing club lacrosse, it was coming back my spring. It was like spring of 2015 was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was probably the funnest year coming back to UNC because like I hated Greeley the first time around, left it, went to Laramie, realized how much I appreciated Greeley.
Yeah.
Greeley, we call it Greeley because it was a shithole.
Yeah.
But like it was fun coming back to it because I appreciated it 10 times more. Made a lot more friends from the lacrosse team than I ever had with the football team. Still talked to a lot of them. And then ended up living with a bunch of them my last year there. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say, our freshman year, John, that was fun. I liked our freshman year. Dorms was fun. Definitely the second semester was super fun. The first
Yeah.
semester
dorms are
was,
dangerous as hell.
was busy, but the spring semester, since we just had like, when you're
Spring ball.
red shirt,
Yeah.
well, I was red shirt, John wasn't, but like spring semester was
Yeah.
super fun. But I'd say that, and then I think I'd say that, and our first semester of our sophomore year was fun at the
I
new
agree.
house.
I think.
But
yes.
then the
So-
second semester sucked. I hated it, and then
yeah.
yeah, because I just didn't like where we were living, and I didn't like the whole situation. But then I think our senior year, I liked the end of our senior year too. That's when I was done with football. John was done because he didn't redshirt. I was done. I left from concussions, and then I just felt like there is a weight that lifts when you're done with a sport. It's like a good and a bad, right?
Dude,
It,
it's
like,
the hardest
sucks,
thing ever.
but it's also like some bliss because I just feel like you work so hard at a sport and you put so much pressure on you, and then when you realize like shit, that wasn't as big as it was to anybody
Yeah.
besides yourself, it just like is a weight off your shoulders in
Yeah.
a way. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
For sure.
It's a bittersweet thing, but I don't know.
Yeah. It was tough for me after after my last season. Well, I was still training for pro day, so I was like,
Yeah.
I still kind of had that hope of still playing. But it was tough for me once I finally, I don't know if you guys want to jump to that part, but when I finally got like moved on from football, then that's when I felt that lift. But that lift off my shoulder wasn't until like last year
Yeah.
when I had my last season. And that was probably the best decision I ever made, even though it took me a little longer than most people.
It's
Probably the
hard.
best feeling once I realized like football was just I guess I was holding to something that like I needed to let go. You know, like it was just.
I
That's the hardest
I
thing.
struggled with
Realize that,
that
you're like,
for a
damn.
while, and I think I still struggle with it a little bit. But for myself, like, it finally was able to kind of be that relaxed moment when I left Elite. And when I left Elite, a lot of my athletic career.
Well, that's because
Well, it's 'cause my
you
whole-
started young.
Dude,
at
because
Elite,
I
and
literally
that's-
helped build Elite
Yeah.
to what it is now. And from an athlete to point to where, you know, when I worked there. And so I had a
It
lot
had
of.
a piece of you still.
Yeah, 100%. My whole athlete life was spent there for a majority of time. And so finally, when I walked away from Elite and kind of cut off a lot of that past, life has been great. And that was only 2 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a hard when you play sports for your whole life. And all of us did that, and then that's all you know. And I remember, like, John, like, I remember our senior year, you struggling with that, and then I had to struggle with the situation of I couldn't play, and I was...
Concussions are a bitch, dude.
It was... it just got to a situation where you do have to really explore yourself, and you have to dig deep and say...
That beer, dude. It was just the bitterness. The bitterness just hit me so hard. I like chugged it. It was like a Miller Lite, and the bitterness hit me so hard just now. It wasn't like one of those gagging ones, but it was just like, holy shit, that's bad. Like it's a good beer, but like, oh my god, I got like one of those just like, oh.
He looked like he was gonna puke.
I wasn't gonna puke. I promise I was gonna puke.
No, but what I'm saying is like we said, like we played sports our whole life. And then we go, and once you get away from that, it's like you don't know what else you truly love, and you don't know what other time to put into other things that you want to do. And that was like the hardest thing. And I mean, I know, John, yeah, you struggle with a lot. And well, I mean, we talked about that a whole bunch when we were roommates, because we were roommates throughout college. And it just gets to a point where you just have to let go, and you have to realize, like, I have other worth at other places.
Yeah.
And now what I'm starting to realize, I don't know if you guys feel this, but you have to, you almost have to start over in some other places, because we haven't spent our time on other skills, other skill sets that we have, you know what I'm saying? So now we're spending all this time on the other skills, and what I've come to learn is, shit, I have to dedicate a lot of my time on these other skills, because I didn't learn as much of these other skills because I was so focused on sports. Now I have to rebuild these other skills to become successful, if we want to say, in the money world, or successful in these certain areas, because I didn't get to spend all my time on that. So people who didn't play sports, they've had time to build other skills. And then most of them are using those skills to make a living. You know what I'm saying? So our skills was sports. We don't get to use those skills to make a living. We're trainers, so that helps because we know a lot about the training world because of the high level.
The craziness that I found.
But I mean, for John, I mean, you're in a whole different situation than sports. Like you're learning a whole different thing. Like you studied computer programming stuff, but you're in a whole different area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so like with me, after I like finally moved on, I mean, like the scariest part of moving on is the unknown, right? So it's like what you said earlier, it's like all I knew growing up is football. Literally, that's all I did was football. And that's literally all I focused on. Like, okay, I had decent grades, but like I mainly only performed well in school because of football, right?
Yeah.
And so once you finally move on, that's like, the unknown is what scares most people. But once you embrace the unknown and kind of head on that journey of the unknown and really be open to anything, then that's where it's all about perspective as well. It's like, then you have the possibility of becoming whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
And you could always bounce back from one career to another. And that's what I'm starting to realize at this age, like being 25 years old. Like, I'm still fairly young. And then I have the opportunity to try new things, and then there's always things that I'll fall back on that I already know from the past, like becoming a personal trainer, becoming a coach, because I have that experience. As far as being an athlete and stuff, but right now, I am pursuing the career of computer science and programming consulting in the business world, but
But it's, you don't know if that's what you truly love.
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
exactly. So I'm experimenting, and it's just that's the point of life, especially at this age. Like, it's good to experiment. I think, in my opinion, because I have time. You know, like I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. You know, there's like no obligation.
That's what I'm saying. Be selfish.
For
now,
me,
man.
it's
I'm
like
selfish. I'm super selfish.
You have
right
to be
now.
selfish, 100%. I think I know for myself, I want to find myself back on the sideline on a football field, coaching at some point. Whether that be this coming fall, if we have a football season. But I know I want to coach some of my brothers through high school.
Get out of the privatized and start doing more high school or college.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if I'll get out of the privatized sector because I do have a passion to, you know, be in the strength world. Obviously, I've started Ironworks, so that's been a huge thing for me. But I know I want to find myself on the sideline. But now, on top of that, I'm kind of finding myself digging into like the stock market a little bit. I mean, that's a stupid little experiment thing, but starting companies.
Well, that's what we talked about.
And so starting, you know, more of an entrepreneurship and like a drive to develop things, and through, you know, building 4-Eyed Sports Nutrition and Ironworks and whatnot, now I've found myself really wanting to create content and write articles and do a little more research. So it's kind of all the weird things that I'm doing are leading towards other things that I have learned that I like to enjoy. And so I think in the grand scheme of things, it's fun to kind of dive down different paths that are going to take you on that same path to a different thing, and all of a sudden everything's going to kind of come back together. And at the same time, looking at us all kind of, and for myself, kind of looking at the post-athlete life, I feel at times I'm trying to catch up on the stuff I didn't do through high school, through college, whether it be camping, going wakeboarding, snowboarding, skiing more. I'm finding myself doing those extracurricular activities and trying to get really, really damn good at them so I can enjoy them for as long as I want. And obviously my mind still flies 100 miles an hour because I'm trying to figure out what else I can possibly be doing right now.
I mean, I think as athletes, like, we're always on a time schedule, like boom, 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 boom. So I think even in our lives, we want to be like that too. And it's hard to slow down. It is hard to slow down, but that's not a bad thing. Like, we attack life, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you can be a non-athlete and attack life, but I think just always being on that constant schedule, we always want to be doing something and trying to figure out something. But what I was gonna say was, where do you guys stand on? So for me, I'm at a position where I'm totally on the other side of, like, I have common sense that I need to make money for a living, and eventually in the back of your head you're like, okay, I'm gonna have a wife, I'm gonna have kids, I gotta make decent money to actually make a good living. Right? So I always think about that, and everyone thinks about that in their 20s, but I know, like, deep down, and like I feel like sometimes maybe your parents pressure you or something like that, but I know deep down I'm like, I do not want to sacrifice like what I love doing for more money. Like, I hate, like, I'm gonna always choose what I love doing because I've seen the other end where people choose the money side and then they end up not being happy. Money is not the answer. And celebrities will come out and say this. I've seen videos on the celebrities, but they're like, become rich and famous and realize that money and rich and famous is not the answer to happiness of what you're trying to search for. And that's where I'm kind of stuck on, like, I'm almost at a point, since I'm by myself right now, I'm like, dude, I'll go live in a fucking trailer on some land and just chill. But what I'm saying is, as long as I'm doing what I love, and I'm fine with that right now, I don't need a big house. I don't need to do that. And I think I don't know, in our generation, I think some people have shit where it's like, some people try to get big money and get big places and get this and that. But I'm like, as long as I'm doing day to day what I love, like, hopefully the money will come because I'm working for it. But I'm also like, I would rather enjoy what I do day to day instead of not enjoy it and then make a shit ton of money but not do what I love.
I mean, I think
that's what's big.
I don't know. I think for myself, I've found ways to make money in the stuff I like doing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're good at it,
exactly.
Eventually it will make you some type of money, right?
Well, and like, we all know, we've all kind of found side hustles to make a little extra money. At least I have. as far as just like doing random shit here and there. Like
Yeah.
you guys diving into the stock market a little bit more.
Yeah.
You and Brandon, and now it's pushed me to do that quite a bit. But I think I agree 100% with that. You have to continue doing what you like, but at the same time, you have to eventually get to a point where you can support yourself and possibly a family with that. I mean, I want to go buy a boat and a freaking GTR, but I don't have the money for that. So
Yeah. And
That would be nice.
I know John.
Right.
Like I know. Like John, right now, you're making good money, and one of those things is like, you're trying to figure out, do you love what you're doing right now, or you're like, hey, maybe you're getting good money, but down the path of like what I truly love to do, is this what I want to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I'm at that point in life where I'm experimenting. So like this job that I took, I took it. I mean, I'm not gonna stay here for that long, obviously, but it's just more like an experiment, trying new things as far as like things I never thought I would like to do. And then sometimes you try something, you don't like it, and then you could always leave and try something else. And, like what I said earlier, especially at this age, it's good to try new things. And I know I like sports, obviously, because I've been playing my whole life. But now I'm trying, business side of stuff like, computer science, web development, do all these other things that I could possibly get into. But I know where I'm at now isn't necessarily where I want to stay at.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's the hardest thing. It's like staying. We know. I think a lot of times in your 20s, like you're at it somewhere sometimes where you don't want to stay at, and you have a dream of where you want to go, but right now you have to be doing this to get where you want to go to the next step, and it's understandable. And like that's the hardest part is like, how do you find the equal medium? But I was just watching this little motivational video on this guy, and he said so he was like, I was trying to make a choice if I wanted to leave a job, kind of like situation with Christian, leave a job, start this own business, but he was at a super good like paying job, like he was making 6 figures, and he was trying to talk to his boss, and he was like, I have an idea, and he said, I have an idea to make, I forgot what it was, but he was like, I have an idea to make this, and he went on a walk with his boss, and his boss was like, yeah, he was like, that's actually a really good idea. But he's like, it's a really good idea for a guy who doesn't make 6 figures. And that's what he said to this guy. And this guy sat there, and the boss was like, I'll give you 48 hours to go back home and think about this decision. So he said, okay. So he went back home and he said, all right, what do I really want to do with my life? And he said this. He said, when I looked at, this was the answer that I asked myself. He said, when I'm 80 years old, he said, if I look back at what I regret in life, he said, I would regret of not trying to do something that I wanted to do. I would regret staying in a comfortable situation instead of trying and failing at something. And he said, I would not regret, he kept asking himself, he's like, if I would try and this was a good idea, and he said, if I failed at it, I wouldn't regret it. Mm-hmm. He said, I would have been okay with it. But he said, if I didn't try it, I would have always wondered every day, what if I did this? And when I listened to that, it kind of hit me, and it's like, that is so true of like, I'm never scared to jump into something, and if I fail at it, like it's okay. Like you don't regret those things that you kind of like, it doesn't work out the way you want, because at least you tried to do it. It is the things that like you look back in your head and you're like, shit, I should have done this. Yeah. I should have done that. And it's same with girls and shit like that. And I know us guys, like literally, if you're at a freaking place and you see a cute girl and you're like, should I go talk to her? Should I go talk to her? And then all of a sudden you don't talk to her. That night you're like, shit. Absolutely. I could have talked to her. And at least you would know, because if you got rejected, you would come back home and be like, okay, I tried it. I got rejected. But the unknown, like what John was saying, the unknown sucks. Because if you don't try it, then
you never know.
You never know. Yeah. And that is the worst things that regret. I think that those are the worst things that regret, because you just never know.
Absolutely.
Because if you always like think like, well, if I do succeed, boom, 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 like this opens up this door, this opens up this door. If I do fail, okay, but you never know. Yeah. So So that was something that I was just looking at, and I think that's powerful for like people at our age or people that just are trying to make decisions on, do I go down this path? Do I go down this path?
Yeah.
But like we've talked about, we're in a world that there's so many doors that are open, and like John was saying, experimenting. We're out of time to experiment. Like we don't have, well, at least us, we don't have a full house that we're paying. We don't have like a wife and kids and stuff like that. So we're allowed to take a little more risks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even if you have that, like this guy that in that video, he said he had a wife and he had kids.
Yeah.
And he asked his wife, and she was used to like a man who has a good paying, stable job.
Yeah.
But she said to him, like, go take the chance. So that's a real one, first of all. So find yourself a girl like that. Find yourself a wife. Find yourself a wife that says go follow your dream, because I love that. Second of all, he took the chance and it ended up working out for him, and he's like a millionaire now. So that's what's sick. It's like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does work out, boom.
He probably invented like Pornhub or something.
I don't know what he was like. He's like, dude, I have a vision. A red couch.
Shane, this is the end of
a black couch in the back of an office.
He was like, dude, I have a vision. A black couch in the back of an office. You videotape. I show this girl what's up. She does a little something, something. Boom, millions of dollars.
Boom, billions of dollars, backroom casting couch. Game on.
I was like, damn. He's like, that's a good vision. But
fake taxi.
Fake taxi. But I mean, at the end of the day, like we kind of talked with Tanya a little bit, is in your 20s, don't get pushed around by older people. That just because they're experienced, I get it. Experience, I think experience is super important, but don't get pushed around and tell them like, you got to work your way up. You got to do this. You got to go on to like each step. Hell no. There's people who are 18 years old that can be very successful, happy life, everything like that. You got to take your chances when you can take your chances, and if you're passionate towards it, you won't let yourself down.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's huge. And I think as athletes, we know that too. It's like, John, you were saying like, oh, well, at the end of high school, you were like, I don't know if I was going to get recruited. Okay, you got a 50%. But then I remember then you worked up to that, and then you got more to like a full ride scholarship. So you were passionate and you weren't going to let yourself down. Now, that drive as an athlete, you got to have that same drive, you know, in your work life too, or in your everyday life, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I mean, the biggest thing
I just like thinking about that conversation with Tanya. I think one of the bigger things that we covered, and obviously you touched on it again, is just the fact that you can't allow yourself to sit there and wonder the entire time and continue to get pushed around by a shitty boss or somebody along the lines of that you either despise or actually you could possibly enjoy, but at the same time you sit there wondering while somebody, like, you're literally building somebody else's dream if you're working for somebody else. So what's the point in that when you have this massive idea or dream to go you could go start the next Apple, but you're sitting there working it as an IT computer guy at Google answering their helpline. Right? I mean,
it all depends. Like, I think, like in my scenario, like some people don't have, like sometimes you need money, right?
Yeah.
If you, let's say you have a dream of starting a business, some people need to take a job to save up money.
Agreed.
Some people need to, you know, take on certain tasks to like get somewhere, to build a certain skill to start something.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that does require taking a job that you don't necessarily
I agree
want.
100%.
But yet again, like I've been hearing, you know, people saying taking risk and just jumping off a cliff. But yet again, like,
don't do that.
You need tools. You need possibly need a parachute or something like that to like
there you go.
prepare yourself for the jump. And so, like in my scenario, I know I'm not gonna be at the job like for long. It's more of a prepare me for the next opportunity that might be.
Exactly. I think you have to take steps.
Business or
you for sure have. Go ahead.
It's all like your mindset though. It just depends like where your mind's at. Like if you have a plan, then go with that plan. You know, stick to your plan, whatever it is. As long as you know your destination, you have a plan to like head towards it, or have goals that you're set. I mean, if you're heading that towards that direction, then I would consider that to be a success.
Yeah. No, that's big because the preparation and plan piece is probably one of the biggest parts. Because this thinks of like my parents asked me the other day. They said, "So what's your plan?" Of like, because I'm living at home right now, and it's like, "What's your plan?" And you know, I sat back and I said, patience is right now like it's still in that patience stage of like planning of what's that next step of building skills for that next step. You know what I'm saying? And it does take time to like wait, you just got to be patient. I got to build these skills. And then once you feel that you built that skill up and you're like, okay, I'm ready, boom, then you take that step. Then at least you're prepared for that next step, and then all of a sudden that skill shoots out to the world, and then boom, you're making a life, like another living, you know what I'm saying? So it does take a while to build those other skills up, build like stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's the hardest part, and that's what I was talking about before is our skills that we built before were all about sports. It was all sports skill related, like physical activity, a lot of that stuff. When you take your whole life and you do that, and now you realize that physical ability and everything like that is not a part of what your skill is going to be. You have to like think like, shit, that took a lot of my life to build that skill. Now I have to be as patient as I can to build this next skill. And it could take just as long. That's the hardest part, is it could take just as long. Now, like we said, like we're sports performance trainers, Christian and I, we were able to take some of those skills that we used throughout our life and put it into our next skill life, part of our life. So that helps. But okay, John, right now, right, your skills were still sports. Now you're trying to build a whole new skill to experiment and say, okay, what am I going to do with this? That could take time. It could take 10 years. Like that's the hardest thing, is how much time you got to dedicate to it. And that's what I'm figuring out, is just like we did with our sports, how much time did we dedicate it to practices, to weightlifting, to film study, to all that? A shit ton of time. So now what I'm feeling with my days is I have to dedicate a shit ton of my time to these other skills that I'm trying to build.
For sure.
And it takes a lot. And that's why I think, that's why I'm single. Honestly, that's why I'm single, because I just don't have time to be single.
If there's a 5'5", brown hair, blue eyed chick out there, give Shane a call.
Like, on the note of like patience though, I mean, it's so hard to be patient nowadays because of social media, right? So when you're scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn or TikTok, you see all these successful people, like always showing the good life, right? Showing their success, and it's social media aspect.
They're not
of
showing
life
the behind the scenes work though.
Yeah, like nobody knows what goes behind the scenes, but yet again, like we look at it, and at least in my head, or majority of people's head, it's like, damn, I want that now.
Absolutely.
So practicing patience
I hate patience.
It's like
Here's the hardest thing now. So we were talking about this on TikTok. All three of us were talking about this. Hard work is hard work, and hard work is going to get you definitely successful. Hard work with smart work is going to be more successful nowadays.
It's not just hard smart work.
Yeah, hard work with smart
Moody.
work. That's going to get you more successful, especially nowadays. You have to be smart with your work and delicate with like the hard work you're putting in. That's one thing that all of us love about the weight room, is hard work is what you get out in the weight room. If you don't put hard work in the weight room, you don't get out what you're going to get out. But now here's the thing, same in the weight room. You have to be smart with programming, with what you're doing to get what you're getting out of it. Now, here's the catch 22 or whatever you want to say. TikTok. You could be an attractive girl, not put in hard work, just have genetic attractiveness, and
like
put a
political
TikTok
correctness right now.
And put a TikTok, but listen, so put a TikTok up
Of your butt.
and literally become famous and possibly make a ton of money off of it.
Well, dude, look at this. Okay,
That's
on that
the
topic,
issue now. But
on that
here's the thing.
topic, girls. I wouldn't say girls alone. There might be dudes on it.
No,
but
there's
on
guys.
I will never buy a subscription to this shit. because you can get it for free if you really
What,
want it. That OnlyFans.com thing that all the girls are going on and they're making fuck tons of money.
OnlyFans.
You don't know about this?
I haven't
John, do you
seen
know about this? The OnlyFans thing that I see on Twitter pop up all the time?
No, I don't
Oh,
know.
well then I know a little more than you guys. So this OnlyFans thing, okay, imagine being a chick, alright? Okay, just take it, and you're like, oh, I have some great tits and I have a nice ass. And I like taking nudes and sending them to guys. Oh, wait, I'm gonna get paid for it. So basically this
That's
OnlyFans.com, yes, it's 100% porn. This OnlyFans.com is you can go make an account, like if you really want to make an account, okay, you can take a video of you like playing with yourself in the shower. And dudes or girls will pay to see it.
Oh yeah.
Like, and they'll send you tips and shit. And the only reason I know, okay, for the record, I'm just for the record.
I know what you're talking about.
I know what
Okay,
you're
thank you. For the record, I will never ever pay for this, and I will never even consider that because it's
Dude,
ridiculous. I'd rather
no,
spend my
I
money
know.
on better shit, especially
I've
when
seen
you can
a
get free fucking porn.
I've seen a website
Yeah.
like that where you pay like coins and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Anyhow, these girls are making fuck tons of money.
No, that's true, but that's what's tough. That's what's really hard about our life nowadays is your hard work could literally be your physical beauty, and that's what's tough. So get swole.
You could
I'm just saying,
have
but-
worked for Playboy back in the 60s. The same,
Yeah, yeah.
same concept.
But you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
like-
So the hardest thing is there are these. We're making a world where like we are taking away some of this hard work, and we're like
Because
praise these people who
instant
just
gratification,
look
bro.
It
Instant gratification is such bullshit. Our whole generation relies on likes and people commenting and sharing their shit. And guess what does that? Number one, fucking TikTok. If a girl can put her boobs on the fucking page and all of a sudden with some stupid little background music
Yeah.
of like whatever song's popular right now, and she does some dumb dance and her tits are popping around, guess what? Like 4 million likes later,
Yeah.
you're fucking famous and
But
now you have
guess-
3 million followers.
Guess what?
Well,
Those
just like-
4 million
it's like-
people are stupid. So it just goes to show how many stupid people we have in this world.
And then they go buy her OnlyFans and now she's making $58,000 a month.
Yeah. But it just like depends, bro. Like if it floats her, bro, if it actually makes her happy to make money that way, fine. Like let her
Go
be
for it.
happy.
I mean, it's the same thing
But
as
yet again,
strippers.
like it just depends on what floats people's boats. Like
Yeah.
it might be easier
Yeah.
for them to make money, but is it really gonna be fulfilling to
No,
show your
maybe.
naked body to make is that fulfilling? Like that's
I
the
don't
real
know.
question. Like,
Ask-
Is that
Ask one of the
okay?
porn stars.
That's where like the morals and stuff like that comes in. Is like, do you go to bed at night and say I'm okay with dancing,
Yeah.
doing
No,
this,
because they're
and stuff,
taking
and
pictures
these
in their
lights?
bed.
But like I'm gonna tell you, look. Okay, this is like a similar. So that video that went viral of me doing a backflip, millions and probably like 10 million people saw it.
Sports Center.
Okay.
Da-da-da.
But
Flip does
yeah,
a
I'm
Shane
sure
does a backflip and breaks his foot.
Oh.
Da-da-da, SC, not top 10.
the 6.8% alcohol is getting me. No, but you go and do that. Okay, it was cool. Like it was cool. Like I was like, oh shit! Like all these people are watching my shit. All this, I'm getting a whole bunch of likes, a whole bunch of views, all of this. But then all of a sudden, like I told Christian, a week later,
Gone.
yeah, like a week, 2 weeks later, boom, gone. And then you're like, okay.
Hey,
Cool.
I'm still here.
Now-
Pay attention to me.
Here's the thing that's different though. So that doesn't it didn't satisfy me at all. Now, okay, if someone called up and was like, hey, we want you on a TV show and you'll get paid for this, okay, that could satisfy you because now it's like, hey, we'll give you 20 grand to go on this commercial or something like that.
That'd be legit.
Boom, boom, boom. Now it's more like, okay, I'm making money with this. This is cool. But like I said, you're seeing these young like girls on these TikToks literally show off like their bodies.
Okay, random question. What if they're
And
not
people
18?
are liking it. People like it. Here's the thing is no one gives a fuck because the world's ran about money. TikTok's making a shit ton of money. Instagram's making a shit ton of money. All these social medias are making a shit ton of money. At the end of the day, it's like your own personal morals are you gonna choose, oh, I can do that. I might be a good looking person. I could do these videos and actually make some good money off of it. Or am I going to battle against my self morals and say, that's not what's going to satisfy my happiness. So what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose money, or are you going to choose like love what you do in your life? Now, hopefully one day you can find both, where you love what you do and you get a decent amount of money of what you're trying to achieve. That's, I think, the goal. And that's where people struggle, is people are either choosing the money path, or people are choosing love what you do. The love what you do doesn't fulfill you because you're not making enough money and you're not comfortable with it. The money path doesn't fulfill you because you don't like your day-to-day routine. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you have to find the median. You have to find the medium of, I love what I do, I make enough money of what I do, I'm comfortable with my day-to-day life routine, I'm comfortable with my family, my friends, everything like that. Boom, that's what makes you happy. So now, what are you going to choose? And that's what you have to go find out. And what I found out is I would still rather choose the love what I do over the money situation every day. Hopefully, what I love to do will eventually make me enough money of making me comfortable in that situation.
Shane basically just wants to go have a weight room on a beach with a Malibu boat park and a jet ski stand up jet ski, and basically he can have his butt out. That's
nude beach.
Oh,
nude
Shane is
like
nudie beach. Shane's wakeboarding backwards, and guess what? The handle is in his ass.
You're stupid. But
you held groceries in your butt.
I did.
Maybe we'll have to post that picture on Books and Brewskies. Yeah. Bless the people with the butthole of their groceries.
So I think patience is like what we're talking about. That's the hardest thing. Is like patience is, when is this gonna finally pan out the way I want it to pan out?
Patience is hard.
But I'm never been a guy. I don't know if you guys like are ones to like write down goals. I've never been someone to write down goals, but the more like I've actually kind of been in, I guess, the normal life and out of the athlete life, I feel like you do need to set like goals of, what do I want to do and what am I looking to do? Now, like I said, and Gary Vee has talked about, like we always kind of talk about, don't put a timeline on your goals. And that's the hardest thing, is because you have so many other people, your parents and your friends and social media, of like, you got to do this now. You got to be ready now. Sure. Like, you need to be here at 28 years old. You need to be here at 32 years old. You need to be here at 40 years old. That's the hardest thing, is like, don't put a timeline on you. And that's what I'm trying not to do as much as you can. When you rely on other people, though, living AKA in your parents' house, it's like almost like you do feel a pressure, because you're like, shit, you have to go with like their flow because they own the house. Yeah. So it's like, I want to have my own place eventually, because then I don't have to deal with that shit. I can go at my own pace. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even if it's not a big place, but I want to go at my own pace, because I know the good things are going to be worth waiting for at the end of the day. Yeah. Whether it takes me to be 35 years old, if I'm 35, I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm literally at a point where I don't care. Like, I want to find a woman that loves me for who I am, and like, hey, I want you, like that dude, like that dude said though with that woman of, she let me chase my dreams. Yeah. And I need a woman like that. Like, I want her to chase her dreams. And if we're living in a tiny house and we're whatever, I don't care. It's fine. And hopefully that someday that something pays off. Sure. So that's why don't bring kids in your life if you're, trying to achieve some goals. Wrap it up. John.
I always wrap it up.
John. On that note, I was going to say, John, give me the best memory that we had, or that you thought that you had in college of us?
No, that's tough. Of us?
Yeah, what was a good experience that we had?
Every single memory.
So Christian can hear and be like, oh, that's so cute.
This one time at fall camp.
3 days. I stuck a football.
Still probably one of the greatest quotes of all time. This one time at band camp, I stuck a flute Among Us and the Rest.
What?
Have you ever seen American Pie?
American Pie.
No. Well, yeah, I have.
Yeah, you have the band camp one.
No, it's not even at band camp. That's in the
Oh,
American
yeah,
Pie
that was
one.
the other one, yeah.
They're like literally after the prom scene, they're like sitting in the couch and she's talking to Jim. She's like, and this one time at band camp, I stuck a flute in my pussy. and he's like sitting there drinking his beer and then fucking spits it out everywhere like good like 10 seconds later.
That's hilarious.
This one time at fall camp,
We're letting John think.
I was concussed at fall camp multiple times.
Does it look like I'm thinking right now?
Yeah, it looks like you're thinking.
Well, I was gonna bring up the biggest lesson I learned while playing football though was no matter how hard you work, if you don't actually have that like self-confidence in yourself, you would never be as good as like you could actually be. So that was me in my experience. I worked super hard to get to the college level, then eventually like becoming a starter at the University of Montana. But like when I was playing ball and I was like working my butt off to get to like where I was, I didn't have that mindset. So like every time I would like even in the games, I felt like restricted. And I know you've probably seen this, Shane. Like I would every time I would break up into the open field, like it was all like a mind game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then eventually with time, after I started like after college.
Sometimes you can feel that though, like in the game, like sometimes you can feel where you let that go. You know what I'm saying? And then you hit that play, and you're like, oh shit, that's my potential. And I think we've all felt that before, and we've kind of talked about that where when you don't think about too much going on, you play your best ball, right? Like you play your best ball.
I can remember,
and that was tough too. I mean, I was in the same situation. Like I built self-confidence, but on the football field, it was tough. Like, I was a white short corner, and that's going to be, I'm honest, like, you don't see that in football.
No, never.
You don't even see it in the NFL. Who's a white corner in the NFL? Tell me.
Give me a second.
Is there a white DB in the corner? No, I'm not being
like
racist
safety,
at all. I'm just
safety.
Safety, but I was
Weddle was a great little tiny safety.
But I'm saying corner.
Bro. When do you ever see an Asian player? Like, come on now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No, but
oh shit, that's so true.
That's the point I'm getting to. Like Heinz Ward was like partially Asian.
Troy Polamalu was Polynesian.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you don't
right?
see
He's Polynesian, right?
But like I'm saying,
I don't want to be wrong.
What I was saying was I was a short white corner. John, you were a short Vietnamese football player.
What was that? Vietnamese. How much beers have you got today?
Vietnamese, right?
No, he said Vietnamese.
Oh, I put an M with it. It's Kimbo's English. She gives me bad English. Okay, but anyways,
Vietnamese.
But on the true side of self-confidence, though, it's hard to be confident in that when you feel it around you, and when you hear it from coaches, and when you hear like the voices behind your back and stuff like that, it is hard to be confident. And then when you find that swagger a little bit, that's what this coach, actually a Raiders coach, told me. He was at one of our high school camps, and he told me this one day. He was like
Ranger Raiders coach.
He was a Raider. He was a Raiders.
Regis High School Raiders.
No, like the Oakland Raiders coach.
Oh.
It was a camp that I went to, and he told me one day I went in his like office at the end of the camp, and they have like interviews with you, and he's like, "You're a really good player." He was like, "Just trust yourself to have like swagger." That's what he called it, and that's what it is. I mean, you see the people on the field who are confident. When they're confident on it, they play great games.
Yeah.
Right, but it's hard to build that confidence sometimes when all you have is negative talk to you. When you can hear like, oh, you're short, oh, you're small, oh, you're white, stuff like that. But I'm telling you, that shit builds in your head.
It's
you're
like,
head. Fuck, I know I'm better than this, but it's hard when you can't build that. When you have to build your own self-confidence. So I get John's
fun
saying
fact
that
for
shit.
you. I remember one specific time. I have two specific times really where I would have that self-confidence issue in high school. If I had a corner route, and I would in our offense at Grandview, we ran corner routes from the tight end position like back to back, right? If that ball came over the top, I literally was like, oh fuck, I better not drop this, and guess what? I dropped it.
Yeah.
In college, there was times where I was so focused on not getting beat off the edge, I got beat off the edge multiple times. Playing you guys, okay? I don't remember who this dude was. Long blonde hair, played the end.
What's his name?
I think he got picked
What
up.
year is it?
This was 2014.
Remember the long
We were up playing you guys.
what's his name?
We lost by like 40
90,
points.
90
I can pull up a picture of him. Anyhow, dude, we were literally driving into the end zone. We were at the 20-yard line. We called an outside zone play. And this motherfucker's lined up in a shark technique, so wide ass technique, like a wide 9. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta get outside and fucking beat this dude. I was laid off the ball, because your stadium's so fucking loud. I was laid off the ball, and fucking this dude hit Rob in the backfield so hard. I'm sitting there like, fuck. And so like, it's a whole confidence thing. Cause if I wasn't thinking about that, I probably could have taken the footwork to actually get outside and at least get the hand up and kind of run with him to where Rob could have made a cut off that. But you know, I beat myself before the play was even started.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you remember these things. I honestly don't remember much in college. Like actually playing the game, I don't remember much. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think sometimes you're just in the zone.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to remember some of your mistakes because that's a very like emotional.
Yeah.
Our memories are so tied to like our emotions, and we learn that in psychology. And it's like, think about your first memories ever.
Yeah.
Like how close you can get to when you are born.
Yeah.
It's always an emotional tie, whether it's like a happy thing or it's a sad thing or an angry thing. Everything's emotional. So sometimes when you're in the zone, like it's hard to remember those things actually happening. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to really
like, I can only remember times that were like I would
really
say like
good or
really
really
good or
bad.
really bad, but I don't remember any of them in between stuff. I remember my last game at UNC because I like little did a lot of people know I knew that was my last game at UNC before I was gonna walk away, but I didn't leave for like another 3 or 4 months. And I remember going out that day and like I gotta just enjoy the warm up, enjoy being here.
Yeah.
This is like last time at Nottingham Stadium, and I'm calling it good. And then that was probably like my most like relaxed game I had.
Yeah.
In college at UNC.
It's nice when you have those moments where you don't put the pressure on you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing, but that's why it's hard to remember a lot about football because I feel like
There's
we
so
were
much
always
pressure.
so much pressure.
Yeah.
People don't get it.
Yeah.
People do not get like there's just a lot of pressure, and then you're at a high level like that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck, like how do you manage this pressure? And we managed it, but that's why it's hard to remember it because it's like, holy shit, all I did was work my ass off to try to get to this and this, and then some things didn't work, some things did. And then you realize like always, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, you're just another fucking person, and you get out of college and no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And then you go to games out of college and you realize 85% of the people are just drinking and talking anyways. They're not even watching the fucking game. Yeah. And then you make a mistake and no one knows what you fucking did.
Except
even your parents too.
Even your fucking coach on the sideline. What the fuck?
Yeah, only your coach is fucking cussing you out. And you feel like a little piece of shit because you're this young man that like doesn't have much power.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. If I knew what I would have known now, I'd be like, fuck you. Like, listen to me. But what I'm saying is like, shit, it's just weird. And now us being coaches too, it's like negative reinforcement.
Dude, I will never
rarely works. I will never be a coach that gives so much negative reinforcement because I've rarely seen it work ever.
I mean, so I came back after I stopped playing and coached 2 years at Grandview. And I could not tell you one time when I had like a moment where I just laid into somebody like some of the coaches we played with. Because I never felt as, like when I was coached, I never wanted to be coached like that. I wanted to be kind of like told what I did wrong and how to make it better or fix it, or like at least given the opportunity to fix it, not just completely torn into and then fucking forgotten about the rest of the game or whatever it was. Because after you fuck up a block or you fumble or or you blow a coverage, whatever it may be, and the coach pulls you off, Like you see it in the NFL, a dude
Doesn't let
fumbles,
you learn.
and doesn't get back in the game for 4 or 5 series, and by that time the game's already over.
Yeah. John, you've seen that like stuff happen, especially with the running backs. Coach Green was like that.
Bro, it happened to me a couple times where they'll just fumble once, they'll pull you out for literally the whole game. It screws up your self-esteem for sure.
Yeah, it screws up your self-confidence. And us as sports performance coaches, like we're more the private sector. We're not a high school or a college coach, more in the NCAA sector. But you see it with these like athletes that we train. The moment if I've ever done like a negative thing like to my athlete, like if I've said like a negative thing, you can see like self-confidence just shoot down the wall. Like they actually look up to you a lot and realize when we were in that situation how much like coaches actually had a big effect on us, and when they did shit like that, it fucked you up.
Yeah.
And you got to be good with like positive reinforcements, everything. And the biggest thing, like what Christian was saying, was like, then you have in your head like, oh, I can't make a mistake. Then you make a mistake, they pull you out, and then something happens and shit like that. I remember one game I hated. I was on kickoff, and I got a flag on kickoff for a guy flopping. And we saw it clearly in the video, and Coach still fucking chewed my ass out. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
What game was that?
Like,
I think I
remember NAU? It was at NAU at Northern Arizona.
Yeah, I remember that, bro.
Yeah.
We lost that game.
We lost that game, and he took it all out on us fucking players, and he was a terrible coach.
That sounds like an Ernest Collins.
Yeah, it was just a bullshit sit. But we went back to the tape. He fucking chewed my ass out at NAU. I didn't get to play the rest of the game. Went back to the tape. This dude literally flopped, like full out flopped. Like we got back up and he flopped on the ground. They flew the flag. Coach still yelled at my ass, and I said, I was so pissed. I was like, that was the night that I drank whiskey, like the rest of the night. But literally, I was just like, how do you do that as a coach? Now, us being coaches, you sit there and you're like, holy fuck, like these coaches literally did not learn certain ways how to actually treat their athletes. And you never want to be that coach now. You learn from these coaches, and you're like, holy shit, I never want to be that fucking coach.
And I think there needs to be a happy medium now as a coach, especially in the high school world. In college, it's a little bit different. You can get away with, like, grabbing. Like, I remember last year, I don't remember who it was or what game it was, but somebody's face mask got grabbed and got just absolutely ripped as they're going off. I'm okay with that. At the high school level, there needs to be a happy medium between being that dickhead coach and being that like lovable coach, and you have to have a good middle ground in there, and it's a fine line that you have to fight constantly to be building the young high school athletes' confidence, but not getting to the point and being able to lay into them, but not to the point where it completely breaks them down as an athlete. And I guess at the college level too, as a redshirt freshman, like in practice or at a freshman, I mean, you can do it to your juniors and seniors, right? No problem, because now they've gone through that shit. But as a freshman coming in, learning a whole new scheme, trying to figure out the world of college, being away from home for the first time, you can't just absolutely lay into them and rip them apart.
I mean, it's having respect. I think it's respect as a coach of knowing how to talk to these kids and knowing how to talk to these like young men and be like, look, you fucked up on this play. Let's talk about it. What was going? The thing that I hate about a lot of coaches, they don't ask you what was going on. What was going on in your head? They assume shit. Or what was going on here? Tell me the backstory.
Well, you see that a lot with quarterbacks.
You actually get to learn something from the person, and everyone has different things, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're seeing here.
I feel like the one position is quarterback where you actually see that. The coach is like, okay, when you drop back here, what reads did you see? Who did you see open, blah, 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 and why did you go here? But every other fucking position, it's okay, why did you run up that hole? Why did you work up to that guy blocking? Why did you do this or do that? I'll say, okay, so why is the quarterbacks the only ones that get to explain their reasoning of why they threw the ball across the middle late in the play? Okay, stupid move, but why'd you do it? Right?
I mean, you could take it in. I don't know. I mean, John could say it of like, John, if you had a coach that would ask you your reasoning of what were you thinking here, tell me this, tell me that, and then actually respect what was going on in your head, and then say, okay, I see what you're thinking here, still made a mistake, let's clean it up, shit like that. how much better would your confidence be, and how much at a higher level could you like take your game to the next level?
So luckily, I mean, for me, Coach Green, I mean, obviously, Coach Green. He was my running back in college, but he was actually a really good coach. He was really, at least to me, very personable. So he would actually ask us, all right, what were you thinking on this play? Even when we watch film after the
he actually
game,
did do that.
he actually helped us out in that way. But a lot of my issues was just personal, like just me being super hard on myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like being a coach, you for sure have to build a relationship. Though that's like, I mean, you guys know this. That's like the number one priority is having a player trust you, being able to open up to you and even take advice. That's where athletes are able to open up and take advice from their coaches. I think from being an athlete before, me trusting my coaches gives me the ability to actually listen to what they're saying and take in their advice and stuff. But
favorites too.
Political
favorites.
The political side of athletics is bullshit.
It is.
That's
tough.
So that's what I hope. If I ever went to the college level, to try to change that culture and say
it's so hard.
You're on a full ride. You're a walk on. You're doing better than him. Even though I'm paying his ass, I want you to play. Strip his money more and then put your money in. That I don't think Montana especially did not do that. We know of some people, John, we've talked about, of some people who had full rides who didn't do shit for their 4 years.
Oh my God.
Got their school paid for.
The funny thing is, like, my story, like, I came in on a partial, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't receive a full. I played as a true freshman. Started like 4 games as a true freshman, and I was the only true freshman in my class that played, or only freshman in my class that played, right? And I didn't get a full scholarship until senior year, bro. Like, it made no sense. So I was like,
it's some bullshit. Because then you see other athletes that come in on a full ride, don't get anything taken away because they just cherish, they just like, I'm just going to make my way through and don't do shit.
I will give Coach Collins up at UNC, that dude did not give a fuck who you were or what you did. If you didn't deserve your money, he would strip that shit from you and give it to somebody else.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. I mean,
I respect that.
He was a horrible coach, but he definitely...
At least he had that aspect.
He didn't give a fuck who you were.
Did.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like 3 of my roommates, dude. They all thought they were like hot shit because they were full ride. I was sitting at 80% or whatever the percentages was. And this dude, I remember literally walking out of the freaking athletic facilities with these guys, and they were all just heated that they lost money. And I'm sitting there like, you guys don't do fucking anything. Like, why the fuck do you deserve that shit?
Yeah, exactly. It's stupid, but I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to try to, you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
I mean, you're responsible. That's kind of funny because adding a quote, Christian, from the book though, and John's actually read this book, but she actually says you are responsible for what you say and do. You are not responsible for whether people freak out about it. And that's true. Yeah. I mean, you have to focus on what you do, what you want to say, and then let other people's react.
Yeah.
Their reaction is their reaction. How you respond and how you act about it is all on you. Yeah. But the more we learn that in the work world, the more we learn of like growing up, you got to focus on you.
Yeah.
And there's going to be haters all the time. There's going to be other people that are going to say shit. Just do you, and honestly, like, take in the opinions of people that you trust, and then figure out your own opinion and say, okay, this is how I feel about it in your own perspective. But, I mean, if you don't do well with that, of, like, taking criticism and then figuring out how do you keep shaping your decisions, then it's going to be harder to be successful. So, I mean, those were big words that I took from that, and I don't know. You got other things to say, John?
Well, on that note, I mean, like what you said.
You didn't give me a memory either, so.
You give me a memory. Just so many memories, bro. I remember that one time we went to, it was freshman year, we went to, I think it was Valentine's Day. Remember that? We drove up during
The
like
hot springs, Jerry Hot Springs.
snowstorm. Yeah.
Dude, I still have pictures of that on my phone of Heidi and Addison and you and I.
I don't even want to know.
It was the hot springs, but we didn't get up to it.
We like hiked like literally 10 feet.
Yeah,
Just
because it was
two
like
feet.
it was like 5 feet of snow. It's good times though. Like when you really look back at it, it's weird. It's like all a blur, but it's
yeah.
I don't know. We're just at a whole different point in our life, and our mindset's just completely different.
Yeah.
From college until now, and it's like it's weird. And it's weird. Life is weird.
Yeah.
On that
It
note,
is, though.
Shane sounds high.
I do. I was about to say something.
Thanks for listening to episode 14.
I do. I know. I was like, I need to get some weed. But you got any last remarks, John, about anything? Or?
Don't be afraid of taking risks. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And
Jump in the
live your
fire.
life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Jump in and make your decisions.
Grab the bull by
Don't
the
get,
horns.
compare yourself to other people either, because that's the social media nowadays, man. People
Oh, she has
get stuck in that mindset where you're comparing yourself to everybody.
Yeah,
Let's just be you. Everybody's unique.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it's the same thing that still has happened 50 years ago, but it's all just now we can all see it.
It's all instant.
Yeah, it's all instant see.
Yep.
Like, oh shit. But it's the same thing that's going on
Oh shit,
in life.
Becky
It's
got a
just
blue
like,
job.
yeah, it's just like we can just see it right away now and know what's going on in everyone's life. But dude.
Wait, did you say Brooke had a boot?
No, I said
job?
Becky.
No, my sister.
Why?
Brooke did not get a blue job.
But
I said Becky.
I mean,
I see how that sounded like that though.
Yeah, because they kind of broke like.
have you guys ever gone on social media though and like looked at people that you follow, and then you're
What do
like,
you
you actually took a second and you're like, how the fuck am I looking
Dude,
at this person's life?
I unfollow people all the time.
Yeah. Like, why am I looking at these people's lives? Like, what do they have any correlation to what I'm doing in life? Like, you just realize, like, so much social media has nothing to do with what you do day to day.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, like, how many people just don't give a shit either. And the more I keep thinking about it deep down is everyone only cares about themselves on social media.
True.
It's all about themselves.
True.
Well, people, I mean, think about it.
Dude, people are
especially
not.
young kids.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the younger generation because most of the kids like go on social media to get away from life, and that's dangerous. If you're
And now they look at
going-
everybody else's perfect life.
Exactly, and that's just like that's super dangerous because once you go back into your own life, you're just super depressed about where you're at. Once again, it goes on that note of comparing yourself to other people, and that's what's dangerous about social media. And I think kids should, I don't know, they should teach this in school for kids at least, man, because it does affect people's self-esteem. You see girls going through these. I mean, your athletes go through this all the time, don't they? Don't they talk to you guys
Oh,
about
yeah.
their like?
A lot of girls too, like girl athletes. It's crazy. Like Snapchat is wild.
Onlyfans.com.
Wild. I'm telling you.
That's Christian's favorite.
No,
song.
but
I
like-
don't go on
I
there,
know
bro.
Christian's song
I don't
is
go on
super-
there, bro.
But like these girls are like they have self-esteem issues because of like their friends not liking their stuff or their friends getting thousands of likes and they don't get any and they're like, I'm not hot or I'm not cute. And
Fun fact.
even with guys too, I mean guys feel the same way, but I think the bigger issue is parenting. That they need to fucking give their kids some confidence and say, look,
there's
like, this is
also,
that.
there's,
And that's
also,
the
there's
thing.
also an issue with that though, because you can't give somebody too much confidence because then it can cause other problems.
Okay,
There's,
you can't give
again,
them too
going
much
back to the
confidence.
coaching thing, if there's a happy medium in parenting.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What I was gonna say. Here's the thing: is we live in such a fast-paced life. Is I think a lot of parents don't. They're not following their kids as much as they used to
Yeah.
without the the social media, without all this. Parents are on
Parents.
phones too.
Parents, get
They're
on
doing
get
as much.
Instagram and follow your kids on Instagram.
Parents who say all this generation, oh, your guys' younger generation's all about technology. Parents are on the phone as much as the fucking kids are, so don't act like it's
Dude, my
just us.
mom plays. What's that fucking candy game?
Yeah, dude.
Candy Crush, bro.
Yeah, dude. Every time I'm out in Utah, her and my stepdad just sit on Candy Crush for hours. I'm like, guys, how the fuck do you do that? But then I'm sitting here on my phone playing Megapolis during quarantine. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Yeah. I stayed until fucking 2 a.m. like 3 days ago because I didn't realize it went from 11 to 2 in like 20 minutes in the game, but in real life it was 11 to 2, and I was literally just sitting there tapping the little icons. Like, people spend their time on their phones way too much, myself included.
But it's not a
tangent. Sorry.
For businesses, for doing stuff like that, social media is great. Gary Vee says it all the time. All I'm saying is for the life of people, I don't know. Our life it's very hectic right now, and I think that's why I like taking my time and being able to go back into that like simple life. And
Shane wants to go live in a van down by the river.
Yeah, man, that's happy.
Palm Beach.
But I mean, how good do you feel though? You know what the nicest thing about quarantine though is, I'm gonna say, is when you're on weekends and you're doing your own thing and you're actually not on your phone, you're just doing other things, and you realize that everyone else isn't going out either, so you're able to just actually enjoy your peaceful time and not say, oh, I gotta be here, or I gotta do this, or I gotta do that. You're just like, yeah, I can just chill and hang out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It actually gives you a perspective on life. And how many times, like, when was the last time you actually sat out on the deck and just fucking listened to nature and you're like, damn, shit.
It's been a while.
Like, life is fast. Life is fast.
And that's in the middle of Denver. It's not quiet.
I posted that video in the hot tub and I seriously was like, that's my hot tub's my quiet time. And when it's nice nights like that and you're just literally no noise and you're just sitting there and you're like, holy fuck. Like, life is fast, and when you actually slow down, you realize like how much advantage we take of like what life is.
Ferris Bueller. Life moves really fast. If you don't slow down, you might miss it.
That's true.
Well, that's the thing though, bro. Like, life does go by really fast, and the fact that our minds are always racing, and I think, in my personal opinion, I meditate daily, so like every morning I would meditate like 10 to 20 minutes. But the importance of like being in the now, in the moment, is because the now is all we have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the future, you never know what's going to come. The past is the past; it's already happened. But the now is like literally all we have.
Boom. Minecraft.
Yeah, you don't even know what's gonna happen.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. Like, Christian right now is thinking like, oh, I gotta get home and sleep, and then
no, I'm thinking
he's
like,
I'm texting my ex.
Now Christian's thinking about that webcam. He's like, that girl.
I'm thinking about what kind of food I might be able to get on the way home.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I'm hungry.
but no, John, you're exactly right, because I mean, same thing. I'll try to take time in the morning, do yoga or something like that. But it is super hard to be in the now. It's super hard. Like, you're always like, oh, well, I gotta get up. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Maybe I should do this. When was the last time you just fucking chilled and just said, screw it. Let my routine get off a little bit. Let me just chill. Let me relax and say, it's all good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of some of the memories, if I'd say, that I miss, like, of the old times on some of the times, is like times that you just said, okay, let's just fucking chill and just not worry about anything and just hang out, just chill with the boys or whatever. And that's why we made part of this, like, we just want to hang out and just chill, catch up on lives, It's like, we don't talk to you every day anymore. Like, John, I don't see you every day like we used to in college, so it's like, it's nice to catch up and just hang out instead of just a little text here and there of like, oh, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, when's the last time you actually talk to your friends and say, what is up? Like, what are you actually doing right now, So I don't know, but If you guys got anything else, we can cut it, or
No.
we can not cut it. You got
How
it?
long is the podcast so far? It's like,
Hour 25.
oh, it's not bad.
But
I'm good.
you got anything, Christian?
No. Thanks for listening. Episode 14.
Episode 14, Quarantine Zoom Life.
This is Christian. I'm here with Shane and John.
This is NPR.
This isn't.
This is NPR. Thank you for listening. It is currently 19 minutes before 11 on Thursday night of the NFL draft. Joe Burrow went number 1 overall. Thank you.
Thank you. And John is still trying to go 5th round.
I wish. No, I'm just joking.
Alright.
Bye.
The boys are out.